Hey everyone, welcome back to another Painting with Jay. As always, my name is Jay, so grab a brush, grab some models, grab some paints, and paint along with me. Let's rid our world of unpainted models, yes. And I'm excited to be back. I'll talk about what I've been doing lately, but I'm back. I'm painting models. Not like I really quit, I just couldn't film it. Long story, but all was good. And yeah, so today I'm going to be working on some robots. Some Castellan robots. I'm now into my AdMech army. I've done my Knights army. I painted them over the last couple months, finished them up. Now working on some AdMech, and I'm really excited. I've been kind of painting excitedly lately because I'm happy to get back into it, and I really want to get this army done, and then that way I can focus on the other two. I have two armies left after this army, so let's keep going. I'll talk about my goals. As always, Adam, you missed a spot. Shout out to Cody Rue. Let's begin. Hey everyone, so I'm working on some Castellan robots. As you can see, some robots. I've been painting them a little bit. What I did was I took a big brush and I painted all the bigger areas, and now I'm going to take a smaller brush and paint in all the smaller areas in these metallic models. And what I've decided to do is probably after every other model, I'm just going to go back to the first one and then shade it. So that way by the end of this time I'll have some shading relatively dry. It takes a little bit of time to dry in this room, and so yeah, might as well, right? Makes sense. So this is the reference model that I'm using for my army. This is my reference model. So this is going to be the before and after. Other than I am going to go actually and start by painting a couple areas in this guy that I think should be silver as well. Yeah. And work on this guy as well a little bit. But this is my reference one. And then this will be the one that kind of the before and after. But as you can see, they're coming along. I've painted a bit. This is technically a Metallica color scheme. But, yeah, technically it's Metallica, but I do, basically my army is a combination of Metallica and Mars, and so they work together really well because they're both, the primary colors of both of them is red and bone, just it's the inverse, you know. Mars is primarily red with a secondary color of bone, and Metallica is the opposite, right? So they still work together quite well. And what I've been doing is, when I started painting back my AdMech, I had a bunch of models that were kind of half done, 2/3 done, and I went back and painted them first. So I've since finished, I finished 10 Rangers, but I just sat down and painted them while studying. Last 4 months I've been writing some certification for my job. And I finished my last test on Tuesday, which is good. So that's kind of nice. And this is one of those pieces that I really just thought should be silver. There we go. And then the rest are good. Yeah. The rest are good. So there we go. And I'm going to paint that black and these black later too. I don't know why they were painted silver. Yeah, I should paint black to go with the other ones, and I'll finish that pattern too, that symbol. So, back to the newer models. But, so then I painted them, I finished up 10 Rangers that were like 2/3 done. And then I finished up some Cataphren Destroyers that once again were like 2/3 done. Yeah. And then what else? This is just Lead Belcher. And then after that, I got into some newer models, and I've been having fun. I've painted some, I have four Tech Priest, not Engine Seers, Tech Priest Dominus. I painted 2 of them so far. I'm going to paint 2 of them in Mars, 2 of them in Metallica, because just to go with the models, you know, to create some coherency. So the 2 Mars ones are done. And then I really wanted to paint Belisarius Call, and so I'm almost done him too. I'm just need to base him, basically. But it's been good. So I got Belisarius Call done, and he is looking pretty cool. He's a fun model, really, 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 really fragile. You know, really fragile is the key. what I'm saying about Belisarius' Cull. A lot of tiny parts that snap off easily. I broke his axe. I had to put it back on. But cool model. Really busy, but I enjoy painting him. So, in the end, I don't have actually a lot of points. I forget that AdMac is a horde army. Like, it is really a horde army. An Imperial horde army. Because nothing costs any points, really, right? Like, these robots are like the most expensive unit in the army. It's 110 points per robot. But they can put out a lot of firepower. Or you can have close combat weapons. I just don't like the close combat weapons option. I prefer to have them, having tons of firepower. And so, yeah. But these robots are fun, and so I'll paint up these guys, and then next I'm going to paint up, I don't know. I don't have a lot of AdMech, and I probably will buy a little more. I have been, you guys know, I've been really not buying models over the last couple of years. I've been actively trying not to buy a lot of models because I've been trying to rid my world of unpainted models, right? And I'm actually well on my way. As an update, so I have this army, which I've challenged myself as a soft challenge to have them done by end of April. I think it was pretty fair because right now it's the end of February, so 2 months. I am going to Adepticon next month, so that I will lose a week. But I don't know, a soft challenge to myself to get these done, and I think that's a possible goal. It's realistic. And so yeah, I'm gonna get these guys done, and then start my next army, and go from there. I have 2 armies left, but one of them is just like 5 or 6, maybe 7 models. Just finishing it up. It's Grey Knights, and Grey Knights I know did just get pretty much a big boost to their army with the latest book. And of course, this is filmed after the newest FAQ for Space Marines, and if you haven't read it, go read it and you enjoy it. It's they've changed the way that the doctrines work, so you really don't get a lot of choice between going between doctrines anymore. So you can't stack the doctrines on a certain one. Like if you have a really heavy army, you can keep it under the Devastator doctrine. If you have a really assaulty army, you can switch to the Assault doctrine pretty fast. Not anymore. Now it's just depending on the turn. You have 1 or 2 options depending on the turn. And some you don't have options. Like turn 4, it's automatically the Assault doctrine. Turn 1 is definitely the Devastator doctrine. Turns 2 and 3, you can have turns 2, you can have the choice between Devastator and Tactical. Turn 3 is definitely Tactical. So as you can see, then your army has to you can't just stack it as one doctrine, and so of course all the Iron Hand players are upset, and that's what happens. GW has been actively monitoring the meta. They have, and let me see that one. That's good. I think that's a good one. So there we go. One done. GW has been actively monitoring the meta, and so they've been intentionally keeping track of what's been overpowered and what's been underpowered, and they've been hitting the overpowered with the nerf hammer. And for these masks, I am intentionally going a little streaky. That is intentional because I do find it. As you can see by my finished model, I'm doing a scratched face look, and having a little bit of streaky does help because it when you put a shade on it, accentuates the streaks on these, and then it just helps look a little older and worn out. But there we go. I love these robots. These are my favorite. These are one of my favorite models. I don't know why. These are such simple models, but they're probably one of my favorite looking models in the game. The second I saw them years ago, I'm like, I have to buy some just to paint them. They were so awesome. As I said, robots, it's pretty cool. Um, so it's the end of February, right? I don't know where, depending on you are. If you're in Australia, hopefully the fires have stopped and it's almost autumn. Here in Canada, it is almost spring. Of course, where like it melted and was really nice and warm for like 2 days, and then we've been getting dumped on for snow over a foot in the last day. So it's been we're right back to there's snow everywhere. Yep. And when February is not a bad month for me. I don't like January. January is always like my least favorite month of the year because Christmas is over and then it's just cold, right? It is cold, and you're like, now we're just started just in winter in Canada, and then you just brace yourself for the winter. February tends to be that middle month where it can be warm sometimes. You never know what you're gonna get, but there's Valentine's Day and a couple other days, and a couple things, and it's a short month. And then there's March. And March is always awesome to me because it's like, okay, now I'm getting ready for Adepticon. Spring's on its way. You start feeling it. It feels nicer. It feels nicer. But, yeah. And so I said I painted up my Imperial Knights. Now, my Imperial Knights weren't really painting with J-worthy because I'm doing 90% with airbrushing. And so... well, maybe more than 90%. So it wasn't really an airbrush. And then what I was doing was, for my studying for my course, I was listening to audiobooks for it, which really helped, I think. I really liked the audiobooks. And I was listening to audiobooks while painting. And so I was painting up, I spent a lot of time painting, and I got some models painted for AdMech and Imperial Knights while studying. And so I couldn't really do a painting with Jay at those times. I could have stopped, I guess, for an hour, but I just really was like focused on my studies, listening to my audiobooks, and painting. So something that I was able to do, multitasking, and I did retain the information, so that was good. Yeah, so that was good. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to paint on the other guy. But that's okay. Finish painting him after. But these Castellan Robots are fun. And so today I'll be working on the silvers, which is a large portion of the model. And then there's not a lot of colors. I don't have a very complex color scheme. In fact, with this part, I can probably just grab a big brush and just slap it on. So I will in a second. But it's not a very complex color scheme, but they look good. And I'm excited to have these guys on the table. I have a bunch of these robots, as you can see. And they're going to comprise a large portion of my points for my army. As I said, it's not a lot of... I was like, I have a lot of AdMech. I was surprised at how many AdMech guys I had. But I looked at the points and I'm like, wow, this is only 2,400 points, my total army. So I'm thinking I might pick up some models in the near future, and that's what I was saying earlier about, I've been very intentionally not buying new models, but I would like to flesh out this army once I'm done painting all my current guys. Maybe buy a couple boxes. Now there have been some released pictures of there are going to be some new AdMech guys coming in the near future, I believe. There's some like jetpack guys with wings and a new flyer. So maybe I'll pick up those. I do have already... so right now, off the top of my head, I have six. Yeah, I have six. 6 HQs. I have 5 elite choice, up to 5 elite choices. I have 30 rangers that will be painted eventually, total. So I could break that up into really like 6 squads. And I have the Castellan destroyers, so 7. So really, I'm pretty close to a battalion already, which would be fun to field for AdMech. What else would I need? I have 2 fast attacks, so I only have 2 fast attacks that I'm going to be building in the near future. I have these robots can be divided up a bunch too, but I also have a couple of the Dune crawlers. One's painted, one isn't. And so I will. I have enough heavies already for the heavy slots for a battalion. So yeah, I just need one more fast attack, and I have the enough. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. So I'm on my way to a battalion. Good. Look at that. He's looking pretty good. So I'm just gonna take a big brush and see if I can just paint that pretty quickly. The back, because it's just gonna be one of my bigger brushes. It's not in the best shape, but it's okay. Just kind of slap it on. Oh yeah, see, it's not right. It looks good. It's not bad at all. What else is new in the world? Yeah, as I said, I'm excited to have these AdMech guys all done, and then I'm gonna pick up maybe a box or two, something just to diversify my army a little bit. The thing is with AdMech is there really aren't a lot of models, right? Like for troops choices, you have the Cataphrons or the Rangers slash what are the other guys? The other same box, right? Um, Elites, you have a bunch of choices. Heavy, you have really like two choices. Fast attack, I think you have one box choice at the moment. You'll soon have another. And so there we go. Looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is take a moment and shade my first model pretty aggressively on the face. I really want it to be dark around the face with some Nuln Oil. And yeah, as I said, it's been a lot of fun. I know the next army I'm going to paint, and then I'm probably going to finish with my Grey Knights. Just because my Grey Knights, it's just a handful of models. I'll see, depending on how I'm feeling. Have I played with the new Grey Knights rules? Nope. I haven't been able to play much lately. Unfortunately, I've been really busy. Life has been unpredictable, and did I paint his gun parts? One of them did, yes. One of them I didn't. I missed a spot, like Adam. Adam, you missed a spot. Life has been, unfortunately, some pretty craziness in my life, and that's okay. Dealing with some stuff and things, but I'm going to keep going, and not been able to film much, as you know, not been able to play much. So I was going to try to play in a tournament this weekend, but I just couldn't do it. So that's okay. Gives me a little more time to paint up these guys, and that way maybe I can use them in the next tournament. I'm not really a play the same army all the time guy, which is why I pretty much stay out of the competitive circuit. Because with the competitive circuit, you got to play a handful of armies. Usually, you get very good at that army, and you've got to be always up on your army and be willing to play the cheesiest cheese that ever cheesed. So that's okay. Right now, as I said, Iron Hand players, they were getting all ready for a big tournament coming up, and got hit with the Nerf hammer. Happens. Yeah. I've been a little bit under the weather, but man, all the coronavirus talk, it's been crazy. I don't obviously have it, but it's been nuts. Yeah. What else? My girlfriend and I love to watch. We don't know why, but we love watching the American politics. The Democratic race is heating up already. And the thing is with the States is that in Canada, it's a pretty fast process. It only takes like a little while to establish a leader of a party. It doesn't take very long. And then the election is like a month and a half process. But in the States, it seems like it's years. it's been like the Democratic Party has been figuring out their leader for the last like 18 months. And then there's the whoever wins that goes head to head against Trump in the election. It's like, okay, it just never ends, but it's just fun to watch. It's like Jerry Springer. Sometimes I don't watch really Jerry Springer. I guess Jerry Springer isn't on anymore. I think apparently it's like a judge show, but yeah, it's pretty funny. I guess if you live in the States, you'd be keeping up with it more. We care a bit because what happens in the States does affect Canadian economies and politics and stuff. But how did that dry so easily? But that's been crazy. I'm not going to get into politics, obviously. But just the whole process is long. I'm intentionally, as I said, going pretty heavy on the face. That's what I want, like that level of heaviness. But cool. Here we go. One down. Cool. How did I do that? I'm just looking at my reference model. Yeah. Maybe a little lighter. I'll clean that up just a little bit. There we go. Doesn't seem like, yeah, just a little bit under the weather. I have a bit of the sniffles, but that's okay. Guessing many people out there do. I love these. These are fun. Fun to paint. But yeah, I'm excited. So my soft goals are get this army done by like April, end of April, and then by the end of July, I'll give myself 3 months with my next army, maybe a little more. But this is the year. All my 40K models are going to be painted this year. I can feel it. I know you all are thinking, Jay, you're crazy. Yes, but still, the rate I'm going, it's possible. Unless I burn out, then maybe I'll take a break. We'll see. But right now, the pace that I'm going at, I am confident I should be able to get done this year. And then I'm done my 40K models, and I'll figure it out after that. I don't know really what I'm going to do. Haven't decided. Maybe just paint for the fun of it. Oh, not paint. I already paint for the fun of it, but paint some models I don't normally paint. Maybe some busts or something. Paint for some games I don't play normally. Start another 40K army? No, I'm kidding. I'm not doing that. Maybe flesh out some of my 40K armies. That is still likely. I could do that. Yeah. That'd be cool. I still don't have a repulsor executioner, because by the time I get one, it probably won't be very good. We'll see. Maybe we'll. So Grey Knights got really improved by the latest. Not really improved. They got improved, yeah, for sure. They're not, I don't know. Some people are saying they're now a top tier army, but we'll see. They're really relying on this new psychic power, changing their special rule. But they're definitely better. See, the thing is, they needed to fix a few things. They needed to make them better psychically. And they kind of did. Their version of Smite is kind of stupid, in my opinion. So now it doubles it to 2 damage at least each, which is better than 1, the original one. So that's better. You know, a 2 damage Smite consistently. It's easy to get off, but it's shorter range. So now people are just flooding their army, like making like horde Grey Knight lists, so that you can just cast as many Smites as you can. One of the powers that you can psychically change to is you know, they're in cover. I think it's, and then -1 to hit if they're actually in cover. I think that's it, or maybe I'm wrong. I haven't played them yet, but which is cool. +1. One thing, one's +1 attack, +1 strength, I think, or something like that. +1 strength, one +1 toughness. So it makes it more survival, which is cool. But yeah, that's what they needed. They need to become more survival. In my opinion, the best way to fix the army is they got to make Dread Knights flying monster creatures, because they have jetpacks, right? They need to add fly. I don't think they did that. I don't think so. Maybe they did, but I don't think so. And that to me would be an easy way to fix the army, or to improve the army greatly, is because that way you can actually have Dread Knights that are flying around the battlefield killing stuff. Dread Knights are really good in close combat, and all your opponent has to do is stand 2 inches off the ground, and they're like, ha, you can't get me, you know. Which is one of my annoyances with this edition. Monster creatures should be able to punch them. If they can reach them, you should be able to punch them. You know, Dread Knight has a giant sword. Imperial Knight has giant arms, and they can't reach the guys two inches off the ground. So, but that's how I would fix. You know, make them better psychically, which they did. More survivable, cheaper. Better guns too, which they did with the psi stuff. One of the special rules is you can basically use like the old psi ammo or something like that. But better shooting, because Grey Knights don't have access to some of the cool guns, or if they do, it's rare. You know, like las cannons. How many Grey Knight things have las cannons? Dreadnoughts have las cannons. Land Raiders can have las cannons. You know, but like psi cannons aren't as good. Silencers aren't as good. So they need better shooting, which they slightly tweaked as well. So that's good. I'm hoping they get some more love in the next edition. Obviously, the next edition is probably this year, as it's been pretty established that we are on the dawning of a new book. I'm guessing this summer. It's usually in the summer. And I'm kind of curious how big of the changes are going to be, because GW has been tweaking their rules as they go along. So I wonder how big of a jump will this one be. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. What else? Yeah, I'm looking forward to March. March is coming up. I'm working this weekend, of course, but it's March is coming up. Hopefully March brings some good weather. I like going outside. I still do sometimes. It's just not as fun when it's this much snow and cold. I haven't skated as much this year. I should have gone skating. That's one thing I didn't do a lot this year. I didn't even sharpen my skates. I'm keeping up with hockey, of course. Leafs are doing okay. Leafs are a team that, on the good days, they're really, really good. And on the bad days, they're really, really not. And I thought it was cool. I don't care. I think it was a hilarious loss for them, but I thought it was cool. On the weekend that just passed, those who didn't find out, the Leafs were playing the Carolina Hurricanes. And in the Carolina Hurricanes, both their goalies got injured during the game by Leafs players. And my Carolina Hurricane friends are kind of angry about that still. But, so both goalies got injured in the game. And so it had to go to an emergency backup goalie. Now, for those of you who don't know the emergency backup goalie system, because it's rarely implemented, teams don't have an emergency backup goalie. The stadium provides one, basically. So the home team keeps one emergency backup goalie in the wings who is not they're usually just in the stands, and then they'll suit up if the first goalie gets injured, they'll suit up, or maybe if the second goalie gets injured, I don't know. But the thing is, it's supplied by the home team. Now it's only gone to the emergency backup goalie like 2 or 3 times in NHL history, and the first time it did was in Chicago, and the backup goalie played for Chicago, and it was was the home team. Made sense. Now in this game, the Carolina Hurricanes were the ones who got injured, but it was the Leafs who had to provide the emergency backup goalie. And their emergency backup goalie is the guy who drives the Zamboni, and he's also the practice goalie for the Leafs and their minor league affiliate, the Leafs or the Marlies, that's the Marlies. So the emergency backup goalie. Oh, I forgot to pick that part. See, I'm becoming an atom here. So Leafs had to supply the emergency backup goalie, and it's the Zamboni driver slash practice goalie for the Leafs and for the underleague team. So literally, it was a professional Zamboni driver playing in net in a game that really mattered. It was a very important game, and at the time of the injuries, the Carolina Hurricanes were up on the Leafs. And so a lot of people were up in arms, especially Rob Brindamore, the coach of the Hurricanes, because it was like, hey, your goalie's got injured, and you're winning, but we're going to supply you with a backup goalie. And the backup goalie is a paid employee by the Maple Leafs, and so he's a paid employee by the Maple Leafs, and he is not. It'd be rude to call him professionally. He's not professional caliber. He plays goalie. Obviously, he's not like some random guy. He's the practice goalie, so he'll be playing like in scrums or for, when the players want just some extra practice. But and he's 43 or 42, sorry. And he like the big thing was he even like was the he needed a kidney transplant years ago, and his mom volunteered, and so. This guy, this 43-year-old man, or 42 or 43-year-old guy, who is usually the Zamboni driver, is in a game. It really mattered. It has playoff implications. Both teams are really chasing the playoffs, and he won. What they did was he let in the first 2 shots that they shot on him. So the Leafs were down 3-1, or sorry, 4-1, 3-1, and. He let the first 2 shots on him get in. And so people were like online blasting the situation, calling it unfair because it looked like he was like losing the game, or the Leafs put him in so that they could win the game, right? Now obviously he is the emergency backup goalie. They didn't choose, which emergency backup goalie that night. There was one guy. But they won. The Hurricanes actually won. What they did was they scored a goal or 2, and then just basically walled around they stonewalled the goalie. So they wouldn't let that. They only let in like 6 shots for the rest of the game, basically all playing defense and not allowing many shots. And so he did face a few shots. He did, and he only let in the first 2, and then he got into his rhythm and didn't let in any more. And they gave him the first star of the game. He's been on a little bit of American talk shows. He had a day named after him. It was in North Carolina. It was David Ayer's Day, which was really cool. I thought it was an awesome situation. I was watching this game while talking to my North Carolina friends, and they weren't as enthused. But then when they won, they thought it was a really cool situation. Other than the fact that both of their goalies were injured, and they're both still injured, which is not a good situation. And then that brought into right now the various GMs and people in the league are talking about what they should do to fix the situation, because they don't now. In both cases, it's only happened. It's happened twice, I think, maybe a third time, but in both cases that I know of, once in Chicago, and once in Toronto. Both times the goalie who was brought in won the game, and it only has happened. It's a rare occasion, so maybe it's not even worth. It's a moot point. Maybe it's not even worth debating about. People are debating, see if they can fix the situation for future use. But it's been a story of the week, right? Like, it's been awesome for this guy because he's always had ambitions of playing in the NHL, and he's been a practice goalie. And it's kind of that Rudy moment, like in the movie Rudy, and then all of a sudden he's playing and he plays and he wins, right? How awesome is that? How awesome is that? And it was awesome. And in the end, the fans were cheering for him. They gave him a standing ovation. He won. He got the first star of the game. James Raymer, who is he's the former goalie for the Leafs. He's the backup goalie who got injured for the Carolina Hurricanes. Signed a stick for him. They brought him in. Like it's been a huge fun thing for him. Oh, sorry, I'm just sore from shoveling the driveway yesterday and today. But it's been awesome. I think it's been the coolest thing for him. And it was exciting. Of course, there was potential that the Carolina Hurricanes were going to get screwed over because the Leafs provided a not amazing professional backup goalie. But he played really well. And they won. And so in the end, they won. In the long term, maybe the Carolina Hurricanes lost because they got their goalies both injured and they're both out for a while. Sorry, friends that are North Carolinians. I guess Carolinians, because it's both teams. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Carolina Panthers technically play for both Carolinas. Not technically, they do. But it was awesome. And then they're even selling shirts for David Ayers, the backup goalie guy. And he gets the royalties, and they're also donating a portion of the royalties to the Kidney Foundation because he is the recipient of a kidney transplant from his mom. And he was on Stephen Colbert and a couple other talk shows. They even brought his mom on one of the talks. Like, they interviewed his mom. It's just a really cool story. It was really cool. And one of the best things of the night was the guy's wife, when she realized that he was going in, swore on Twitter. And so people were kind of flaming her for her tweet. But it was kind of funny. Just that her reaction was pretty priceless, knowing that he was going to go and play in. And it was really cool. As I said, he's 42. So it's going to be one of they let him keep his jersey, obviously. They paid him like $500 for the night. He got the best seats in the house to the game. So, yeah, I'm happy for him. I think it was a cool game. It was a fun scenario. And I agree there are potential repercussions of putting in a barely, not even minor league quality goalie in an NHL game who technically is an employee of the opponent. But in the end, these guys, they want to win. They want to win for their team, right? They don't want to come in, and that's what I keep saying to people, is that they don't want to come in and suck, right? This is their one moment. They've been dreaming of this moment for their whole lives, and they've been dreaming of this moment, right? They're gonna be nervous, and I understand that, and they're gonna be a little rusty, and I understand that, and they're up against guys who are really, really, really good, right? These are the best players in the world, right? And but they want to win. They're usually competitors. They want to represent themselves. They don't want to be the guy who got led into a game and let in 10 goals. They want to be the guy who wins the game for their team, regardless of who their team is. They want to win, especially the goalie, right? Because the goalie is the wall of the team, the backstop of the team, and they don't want to misrepresent themselves. They want to kick butt, And so that's what I say. They're not going to throw the game, because then they're going to be accused of shady stuff, or maybe they're going to be accused of just sucking. They want to win. And he came in and he played for the opponent, right? He's not a Carolina Hurricanes fan. He's a Leafs fan. But he played well as he could, and he won the game for them. They won. What more can you ask? Right? And even after he won, it was kind of a running gag that the Leafs lost to a Zamboni driver. For several days, people were razzing the Leafs. And you know what? They scored a couple times, and maybe they should have won. But the opponents played well too, right? They as I said, they switched their strategy up to play pretty much a defensive game. They got a couple shots off, but they were smart. They were like, "Hey, we have a goalie who isn't the best goalie. Let's embrace him and protect him, and not allow as many shots as normal." And they did, and it worked, and they won. And in the end, you know what? I'm a Leafs fan, but I was cool with them winning. I was actually very cool with the Carolina Hurricanes winning. Because number one, they were winning before the goalies left the game. And if the Leafs came back and won, it would have been great for the Leafs, but then it would have been that argument of, well, then the Leafs put in an employee and then beat up the team, right? So it's kind of like, it's a very fair result. That the Leafs lost a game that they were losing before the goalies left. They were losing badly. And in the end, it's better that they lose because then no one can claim shenanigans, right? And also it leads to this really cool story for David Ayers. And he's been embraced by the American media and the Canadian media. People are really happy for him, and I'm happy for him, because very rarely at that point in your life do you get to live your dream like that, right? It's a really, really cool scenario, and I'm really happy for him. And also, it's very Canadian, and it's hockey, right? So that was pretty cool. Baseball's starting up again. The thing about baseball, it's only off for a few months, and it comes right back with spring training. Leafs are looking, no, it's the Leafs. The Jays are actually looking pretty good. This year, the team to beat in our division is definitely the Yankees, who've thrown so much money at so many individuals. It's just disgusting. They really should put a cap, an actual hard cap in baseball, because it's so unfair. Like, I live in the team for hockey, right? That makes the most money. The Leafs are the most prosperous team in hockey. And so, Leafs can't, but the problem with Leafs is that there's a cap. So Leafs can't take advantage of this, that they're the best market. They make the most because there's a hard cap. In baseball, there isn't. There's a tax after a certain amount, but the teams that make a lot of money just say, who cares? I'll pay the tax. I'll buy every good player in the league. And I don't care. I'll pay a little tax. As long as I'm in playoff contention, no one's going to care because we'll sell out every day. And that's what the Yankees and last year the Red Sox did. Now, the Red Sox dismembered their team because they didn't play well last year and didn't win. They were like, okay, time to dismember. And then they fired their manager because he was a part of this whole cheating ring in baseball, the drum cheating. Basically the 2017 World Series winners, the Houston Astros, are cheater pumpkin eaters. They were sign stealing. And they were doing it in hilarious fashion, using the drum beat. Those who don't know, basically, they had a guy who was stealing signs from the catcher of the opposing team, and if it was a fastball, they wouldn't do anything. And if it was an off-speed pitch, they would beat a drum. And there's even a rumor that the number of drum beats referred to a specific pitch. But in most cases, it was just probably an off-speed pitch. So the batters for the Astros knew if a fastball was coming. Now, they wouldn't know the location. They wouldn't know anything. They wouldn't know that. But knowing the type of pitch that's coming is a huge advantage. Right? You can time your swing. You know that, like, if a fastball is released at a certain height, it's going to stay about that height, right? It's not going to drop as much versus a breaking ball, which would not. It's going to fall. And so they knew, and in fact, one of the teams they stole the most signs against was the Blue Jays, and they trounced us that game. So people are joking, calling them the Houston Asterisks, or the, that was my favorite one, but yeah, they're cheaters. It's going to go down in history, and a lot of people lost their jobs over it. And, yeah. See, these guys are coming along well. I'm excited to have my robots done, because it's going to be a lot of fun to play these guys on the table. How many robots does Jay have? A lot. Excuse me. Oh. Let me just finish up that one part first. Then we'll show you the previous one. So yeah, I'm excited that baseball's starting up again. Jays have a good team. They're starting to invest in players around their young core.
So we could be a team to watch this year. We probably won't win anything, but you know what? We could have an exciting team. We have a lot better pitchers than last year that really need to stay healthy. We just bought a guy really, really high, and so we paid a lot for him. Ryu. My favorite story of the Blue Jays so far was we just got a new guy from Japan, one of the Japan leagues, and he didn't pitch very well. For being, so hyped, he didn't pitch very well, and the reason was and after the game they revealed he wasn't used to the size of the baseball. In Japan they use different sized baseballs, and he didn't really try them a lot in North America. I don't know what he was doing before he pitched for the first game, but they were like, yeah, he needs to get used to the size of the baseballs. I'm like, so did you not try out the new baseballs before you started pitching? I don't know. It's pretty funny. And that's true. Each league has their own baseballs made of different materials and wind resistance. And the right now the ones that are used in baseball are really good for home runs. That's why the number of home runs is just going through the roof. But oh well. There we go. Look at this. These guys are coming along, and as I said, I'll have these ones done over the next week. At this rate, once the silvers are done, it's just painting the wires, some bronze, and some golds. They're pretty, and then I'll do some scratching on them. Like I said, I'm doing some minor scratching, just a little wear, because I like that look. But these guys will be done in the very near future. And get them done, and then start the next group of guys. I don't know what I'm going to paint next. For the AdMech, I'll finish up these ones first, and then figure it out. Maybe a Doom Crawler. Yeah. Maybe my Doom Crawler. Get those two finished, I have one that's pretty much finished, and one that will be, one that is not, so. But, yeah, we'll see. So I'm going to keep going with these guys, these AdMechs. Get them all done. This is the year, 2020. I'm Jay, and this is 2020. The year I'm going to finish pretty much my armies. And then as I said, after that, I don't know, maybe I'll take a break. Maybe I'll paint some more. Maybe I'll flesh out my armies. Paint some models I don't normally paint. We'll figure it out. It's going to be nice. I really do love that, because I meant, like, some of these models I've had forever. These ones I haven't had that long. I bought the attachment, the AdMech detachment for Apocalypse to save some money, because it was cheaper than buying 2 sets of robots. I got 3 for less than 2, so that's a good price. And this army I've really not paid a lot for. I've won several prizes, and whenever I win prizes at tournaments, I've been choosing AdMech. Very few people go for the AdMech, and I've been winning them. I have 2 starter box sets, so start collecting. One that I bought them when they first came out. So this army I've not spent a lot of money on, which is nice. So it hasn't been an army that I've spent a fortune on, but I'm excited to get them done. I really do like AdMech. They're a fun army. They're not top tier competitive, but I don't care, because I'm not a top tier competitive person. I'm saying that as I'm painting up 8 robots, but the reason why I have so many robots is I really like robots. They're awesome. I love the fact that they look like they're kind of in a Mexican standoff, like from The Office. Yeah. Let me dry for a second. Go on. That's my test one. And so, next one. But they're just cool. They're really cool.
As I said, I have four of their name their guys, not the Electro Priests, the whatever their guys are that can change their type, their programming. Yeah, but they're elite choices, so I have four. That's four elite choices right there. Plus, I have a squad of Rust Stalkers. Yeah. They're a cool army. They really look fun. I've played against them a bunch of times. My friend Dave has played AdMech for a long time, and I've had a lot of these models. Some of these models I've had for a long time. In fact, some of them were actually the last models I purchased. Now, this is not the reason why I've held them off so long, but some of them were actually the last models I purchased before my divorce, which was, 4 years ago? 4 years ago? So I've had, I had to start collecting. I bought the Start Collecting box set just before. So I've had some of these models for a long time, and it's been really nice to paint them. And it's actually what I'm enjoying most about my painting quest that I've been on over the last few years is that you see these models that you've had for a really, really long time, and you've wanted to paint them, right? I've had Belisarius Call for years too, right? About 3 years. And I've been wanting to paint these models, and it's been really fun to finally get them done, to get the monkey off your back, and have them done, have them on the tabletop, and remove this leg. Slowly but surely, I'm removing the leg of how long I've had these models for versus, until how long it takes me to get them painted. And it's been really fun. And I'm excited. Well, the one thing I'm really excited about is just with no guilt, go one day, maybe this year, I'll be able to go to the local gaming store or order from GW, buy a model online, and paint it, right? Or buy a model, and just take it home, or let it arrive in the mail and paint it, right? Assemble it and paint it with no guilt that I have all these models lying in boxes elsewhere. That's gonna be cool. It's a cool feeling that the knowing that everything else is painted that I need to have painted, and that's a cool feeling, and I'm looking forward to that feeling. That if I do decide one day to buy, the what's his name, the new character for Imperial Fists, or if I buy, a Repulsor Executioner, or if I, buy the new, I'm just going to put him down for a second and paint the other guy using the same brush. Might as well, while I'm doing this, a Repulsor Executioner or something. I can just take it home and paint it. Get it done. Get it on the tabletop quickly, and there's no more leg between when I buy a model and when it's painted. It's a cool feeling. This guy I'm going to need to stick to its base or something, or because he's kind of on its tippy toes. And let me just make sure this guy's focused in correctly. I think it is. Yep. And that to me is a really awesome feeling. And I hope out there in internet land, all you guys and girls are feeling the same, getting close to feeling the same feeling. Because that to me is a really cool goal. And heck, I don't know if I'm going to buy any more models, at least in the short term. But of course I say that, and then GW come up with a cool new model. And the problem is I play so many armies that the odds are a cool new model will come out for one of my armies at some point. Right? It's going to happen. And I'm like, okay, you got me. I got to buy that model. So... Alright, so we're at 53 minutes. I should probably call it now, because I have to go get ready for work and stuff, but I've painted most of the metals. I've shaded 3 of them, and so I'm going to keep working on these robots over the next week or so. Maybe there'll be another painting with Jay with them, but the odds are next one will be with another one, and they'll be done, and then I'll paint, I'll assemble the next model or models and paint them up too and get rid of my world of unpainted AdMech models. So here we go. This one is almost done. Well, this one just needs to be shaded. And this one has been shaded. So I've gotten a good amount of work done so far this week on this painting with Jay. And yeah, let's end now. Alright, so that concludes another Painting with Jay. I really hope you enjoyed this week's Painting with Jay and got some stuff done, and I hope you're ridding your world of unpainted models. That's the important part. As you can see, I'm well in my way with my AdMech. I will be assembling and painting them over the next couple months, and I think I should be able to finish them over the next 2 months. I think that's a realistic goal. Otherwise, we'll keep going. We'll get it done when it gets done, but I think this is going to be the year. And I'm super excited for that. So stay tuned for more Painting with Jay. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to get back into the swing of these things, and I really hope you do enjoy these videos. Leave comments in the comment section down below how your painting challenges to yourself are going. And as always, this video is brought to you by my Patreon subscribers. As you can see, their names go by my head. Link in the description below if you want to help support my videos. But huge thank you to my Patreon subscribers. Stay tuned for more Painting with Jay. Adam, you missed a spot once again. Until next time, it's Jay saying, happy painting with me.